Hi, and thanks for stopping by my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this double faceted box. I saw the design and I think the original designer was Peter Rosenborn. It was in a German, I think. So I've had a look at how it was put together and then I've re-engineered it to go in centimetres. It's got a little magnetic closure, and I have changed, this is my first design, I have changed it slightly just to make it look a little bit nicer when it's finished off. So I bring in my paper trimmer and I've got a piece of A5 cardstock, and in portrait orientation I'm just going to score that at 5 centimetres and at 11 centimetres. Then I'm going to turn it around and I've got to do some cuts, but I only want to do the cut from the top to the score line, from the bottom up to the score line. So I've got my cardstock at 5 centimetres and I'm going to cut from the bottom up to the score line, which was my 11 centimetre score line, and then from the top down to the score line, which is actually the 5 centimetre score line. Then take the cardstock across to 10 centimetres and do exactly the same again. Across to 15 centimetres, do exactly the same again. And then across to 20 centimetres and repeat. Okay, so then I want to do some diagonal scoring, and to do that easily I'm going to, you could do it on your paper trimmer, but to do it the easiest way, I think, I'm going to bring in a take your pick tool and also a metal ruler. Now I'm just folding these on the score line to make it easy for the video and for you to see where I'm actually scoring. Just lost my ruler, I've got to find that. So I need to score diagonally, and I need to score from the top corner down to the first cut line. So I'm just going to flip that up so that you can see easily where I'm scoring. So the very top corner down to the first score line. Then the next, I'm going again from that top corner where the cut is down to the next cut. Repeat again. And repeat again down to the little tiny tab, which will be our box closure. Oops, that's not quite straight and it needs to be straight. So I've done my crosses that way. Now I need to go back and score in the opposite direction. So again, from the tab cut down to the bottom corner, from the cut to the bottom corner, from the cut to the bottom corner. So you could do this on your paper trimmer, but I think it's easier to manually do it, and with a little ball that comes with your take your pick tool. That bit's falling off. That's just given me my diagonal fold line. So I'm just going to fold all of those and tease the paper with my fingernail. And then the other direction. Okay, so hopefully you can see there that I've got a really nice crisscross or diamond and half diamond shape, triangle shape. I need to cut off the excess off the end, so I'll do that now. That's going to be my little tabs. And then this one is going to be my lid. I can cut off a little bit of the excess off all of the others, so I'll do that now. Bring my paper trimmer back in. So this is my 5 centimetre width. Bring my paper trimmer in. I'm going to fold this, oops, you can't see. I'm going to fold this piece back because that is the lid of the box. And I just want to cut a little bit off. So I've got my paper or my cardstock at 1.5 centimetres on this side. I'm going to bring it down to 2 centimetres and I'm just going to trim all of that excess off. Okay, so that just gets rid of the excess. Then I'm going to bring my paper snips in and just trim little wedges out of each of those panels, because then my box will close really well and nice and easily. It just gets rid of any unnecessary edges. That wasn't very good, so I'll just recut that one. That was a little bit close. Get rid of all of those, and that will then be my box closure. I'm just going to fold and burnish that little tab. Because that will be my box closure, and then those bits tucked in, and then that will be my lid, and it will close really well. Then I'm going to do the rest the same for the bottom. I can snip off just off the little bits of the corners. You don't have to do this, but I like to do it because it just takes a little bit of the bulk out, and if you've over by 1 millimetre or so on your cutting, it will just help everything close nicer and more easily. But that's optional. Take all those excess pieces out, and then that's my base of my box. Get rid of all of that. So now is the fun bit. Now I have to manipulate how I'm going to fold all of this. So I want all of these folds. Bring my bone score in and burnish. It's important to burnish all your score lines, because then your box will sit and fold better. And then when I close my box, it's going to have slightly rounded edges. Now you don't want to flatten these, because these bits actually will get pushed in when we're putting the box together. But first up, I want to decorate. So I want to put a little bit of a decoration on here. Now, this measures, it's a diamond shape though, 4 centimetres by, let's see if I got it right, by almost 4 centimetres by almost 4 centimetres. So I'm going to make up a little pattern. All right, so I've made myself up a little pattern, and this measures 5.5 by 4.5. Then I want to be able to cut off the corners. So I'm simply going to fold that in half and fold it in half. And then I'm going to cut off my corners from the fold line to the fold line. And I can't see that, so let me fold it again. Okay, so then hopefully that will give me my little pattern for my designer series paper. I'm just going to trim off those corners a little bit when I put my designer series paper on. Right, so I've got my pattern and I've got a piece of the Traditions of St. Nick paper. I'm actually going to paper snip my pattern pieces. So because the pattern is directional, I want all of my pieces to go upright. So I'm just going to use my paper snips to cut off 4 pieces of my diamond shape. You could use your paper trimmer if you wish, but I think my pattern isn't going to quite sit into place. So that's my first piece. Second piece. This does waste a little bit of paper, but I think it's worth it because I wanted to use this particular piece of paper. You could hold the pattern in place with a glue dot if you wish, or repositionable tape. Right, So I cut some of those while the tape was turned off. So now I'm just going to adhere those to each of my little panels. You could adjust them if your cutting's a little wee bit off, but just remember it is a handmade box. It doesn't need to be perfect. Come on, glue. So just on each of those little panels. Oops, I missed that bit. And then the final panel I'm going to leave off because we have to put the box together. So I'm just adjusting that a little bit, just make sure I haven't got any glue. Now all these little leftover pieces, you can come back in if you wish and put them in the little place, in the spaces in between, but I'm going to put the box together first. Oops, I just need to wait, they're not quite stuck down yet. So now to put the box together. So some adhesive or some glue. And remember, the important thing is you don't flatten the box. And I can see the very edge there and the very edge there. So I'm just holding it together so it adheres well. And then I can put my final piece, oh, that hasn't stuck yet. I can put my final piece of Designer Series paper on. So I'll just do that now. And at the moment, it's a circle. That's not going to play nicely. Okay, so it will take a few moments to adhere. I'll come back in a minute. Right, I think that's long enough to let all the glue dry. So now what you have to do is you have to manipulate each of these with the pattern pieces to go inwards. I'm just going to close up my box a little bit, and you're going to push those pieces inwards. And that was why it was important not to have any score lines through here. So those bits push in nice and easily. You can pinch the corners a little bit if you wish. You can just see those score lines. I'm just going right up to the very, very corners with my fingernail. If you don't have fingernails, you could use your bone scorer because you want it to be nice and neat and nice and angled. Nice and neat. Can you? Hopefully you can see that on my video. I prefer to use my fingers. It's easier for me. But you want that cross of that, the cross of the score to sit really, really well. So I'm just pushing that in slightly, just turn it upside down so that you can see that it's nicely into the score line. Just makes a difference just pushing that right in. Okay, so there is my faceted box. And then to finish off the top and the bottom's just going to be adhered together. So just one piece in, a little bit, oh actually I'll put both pieces in, a little bit of adhesive, close it up. Adhesive on this one, I don't want to go too far down, and close it up. And it's very important that the bottom is square. So flip it up the right way, open all my little side tabs and bone score it in there just to hold it nice and square. And then when I close my top tabs, that should be nice and square across the top. So you can just see that. And then to finish off the top, I'm just going to cut a piece of Designer Series paper, and that will be 4.5 by 4.5. And pop that on the top there. Come on. I think I need to get myself a new glue out of my stash. Right, so now to finish off the box, I have a couple of pieces of magnetic sheet, which I'm going to use for the lid. I've made a little tag using the tailored tag die set. I've just used the smallest one and put the little round circle reinforcement. The tailored tags, the magnetic sheet I've used, I put magnetic sheet underneath all of my dies so that they sit easily in the packaging. So these two pieces are just leftovers. So you could easily buy magnets, but I've got lots of leftover little pieces and it is adhesive. So I'm just going to pop that into place, take the adhesive sheet off, if I can, pop it onto my lid. Not quite square. Maybe I need to get my fingers out of the way. Oh, that's pretty good. Pop the lid, the other piece on top of that piece. It's magnetic, so it will just sit there. Whoops, if it wants to sit there without sticking to my fingers. Oh, okay, so sit there. Close my box. I'm making sure that it is square and just gently close it. Make sure it's square and then touch it down. And then my second magnet sheet piece will sit on there. Now, to finish off the box, I want to have a little bow across the top. Now, this is our elegant twine. Comes in gold and silver pack, both in the pack, but it's quite rigid and it's quite hard to tie a bow. So in the center of it, just bringing it right up to the camera, if you just play with the very, very end, you will find the thread. It's a nylon thread that's through the middle. If you gently pull that out, get rid of that, and it's much more pliable. Okay, so I've tied my tag through the bit of thread. I'm going to wrap that around my lid and tie a little bow. If I can tie a little bow, I need another pair of hands. And I'll fiddle with the bow and make that just look perfect later. But that's my little box, all finished without the chocolates. And then this is my other one I've just finished off as well, just with a little bit of ribbon through the top there. And again, it's got the magnetic strip, so you can put some nice chocolates in there and a little tag. So they are my double faceted boxes, slightly bigger one than in the green than the red. And that's just dependent on the depth of the pieces here. So both out of an A5 sheet of cardstock. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video and have fun making these little boxes. Thanks very much.